Last Friday's debate by the Commonwealth Youth Parliamentarians was a very significant event. There were sort of 60 plus young people, some of them who were already working in politics, who sat in the Lord's Chamber and sustained a very coherent argument on whether or not there should be a reduction in carbon emission, 100% reduction in carbon emissions by the year 2050.
Highlight of the week was debating in the Chamber of Lords, House of Lords. I've never imagined myself being in there and sitting in that position, and I'm grateful that I got the opportunity to actually sit in there.
Honestly, everything, and mostly is the debating. It really challenged me and helped me with my confidence because I'm a natural, very quiet person. It helped me learn how to push my view through and extend my voice.
I've had an absolute blast. I've met people from all over the world, and I was very privileged to be able to speak today in the House of Lords.
Even though I work in the Parliament of Samoa, I'm not really into politics, but coming here and now I have a confidence. Now I can actually go back home and say that I can now debate on certain issues.
Well, for one, the Parliament in Barbados does not have a whip, so I've learnt the entire role of the whip, the chief whip, and whipping. Apart from that, I think the role of parliamentarians, ministers, everything has come to light this week for me.
As Prime Minister, I am really excited about the possibility of opening a debate in the House of Lords chamber on climate change, which is an enormous challenge for all member nations of the Commonwealth. And I'm hoping that the nature of the chamber of the House of Lords will influence the style of debate, and we will get a very constructive and also very accommodating debate in which all members will try and address the issues at hand in a way which is possibly more constructive than the style of debate often is in the House of Commons.
Well, I mean, probably the experience of getting to lead a team for the first time properly. We had no rebellions, so that's probably a success on the books. But in terms of sort of putting forward a strategy and caucusing with groups, it was a skill that I think I'll be able to take forward probably to my own council, but I don't suppose our council leader will be pleased to hear that.
I'm going to take the whole experience. I'm going back to inspire my youth parliament, my younger generation in Tanzania, and encouraging them to push their ideas through to be stronger as the next stronger leaders.
The most inspiring person I would have met here is Alicia from St. Lucia. Alicia in her day life is a journalist. She works for the newspaper that opposes the government. And as a part of her day-to-day job, she carries a gun to work. In addition to being a student, she runs her own private security consultancy firm and is a journalist. And I just find it absolutely astounding that she's so young and does so much. And she's someone that I think is a fantastic example to other young Commonwealth parliamentarians of something to aspire to, for sure.
I would definitely have to say that all the delegates from the Caribbean really did make an impression on me, especially most of them coming from small island developing states. And they are very, very much concerned about the issue of climate change and how it is impacting their country and how those specific issues are individually affecting them.
I've been particularly impressed by the leader of the opposition, Matthew Crowe. His leadership has been brilliant. He kept the party together, and his arguments have been wonderful. I was also impressed by the delegates from Barbados and the delegate from Samoa, June.
I think the level of thinking in terms of thinking globally is far higher here than it is in Barbados. We tend to look at more issues related to we tend to look at more local issues, and I've been forced to think outside the box and think globally at this Commonwealth Youth Parliament.
I'm in touch with everybody, and I'm going to be going to different countries to visit my new network. I'm so excited.
I'm going to take back an even reinforced sense of ambition that being in the House of Parliament and representing people is something that I want to do, and I can't wait until I'm privileged enough to be able to represent people, whether that's in 20, 30, 40 years, I'll get there.
I thought the the delegates who came to the Youth Parliament were, extraordinarily mature in what they said and how they conducted themselves. In some respects of what I saw, they could give a pretty good lesson to more senior and seasoned parliamentarians than they themselves were. They had thought about it, they'd marshalled their arguments, they spoke with great brevity, which I said to them at one point, is really the hallmark of a successful politician. If you can learn to put your argument very succinctly, you will be blessed by many people, and it's a very good way of proceeding.
It's quite clear that we must try to entice, as it were, the best people that exist in many Commonwealth countries, in all Commonwealth countries, to try their hand at politics. Politicians have, of course, as we all know, a huge role to play in maintaining democracy. The values of democracy particularly are spread throughout the Commonwealth, but they need to be revised and rehearsed and repeated often. And I think that if we ignore young parliamentarians and do not actually show that we are deeply interested in how they progress and indeed how they are learning to progress democracy, then I think we do so at our peril.
I've always wanted to encourage young people to be involved in politics. I got involved in politics at a very early age myself in the 1980s. People say that young people aren't political. I find that young people aren't party political, but they're hugely political. They're worried about getting jobs, they're worried about going to university, they're worried about the environment. They're worried about a whole range of issues, the answers to which are going to be political answers. And whether we like it or not, engagement with politics is the way that we affect change in our country and in other countries. So I think it's vitally important that young people become involved in politics at a very early age.
The people who attended the debate, those young citizens, are the leaders of tomorrow, not just in politics, but in commerce, in education, in a range of fields. And the opportunity that they had, I hope, to come together to exchange ideas over the course of not just the debate, but during the days around it, will put them in a fantastic stead. Because without doubt, having heard the quality of the debate, those really are the leaders of tomorrow in a whole range of fields. I thought that the debate in the House of Lords was absolutely superb. The quality of the speakers and the breadth of views was frightening to someone like myself. I would certainly urge those UK members, please don't enter politics because you're going to put us all to shame.
I think it's important to engage young people and first of all to make them aware of the Commonwealth because it can be so easily taken for granted to feel that they are, if you like, brothers and sisters in a vast organisation covering the world in the sense that it covers 5 continents. And I don't think that they should be allowed, as it were, to take it for granted. I think if they become engaged, they will have the same enthusiasm as other people have about the potential of the Commonwealth and what we can learn from each other and maybe teach the rest of the world.
I think the best advice that anyone involved in politics can give to young people who are interested in politics is the advice that I got as a teenager from Margaret Thatcher, which is get involved. Your views are as valid as our views, and the earlier you start, the quicker you will rise up and be involved in making decisions that affect people's lives. So get involved.
I hope that the young Commonwealth parliamentarians will remain as enthusiastic as they appeared to me. And that's the important thing, that they've got lots of things facing them in life which may cause their interest in democratic politics to become weaker. Understandable things in their life socially and career-wise. But I hope that a good many of them will actually enthuse about continuing in democratic politics, whether in their own country or even more expansively. And if they are imbued with the right ideals, then they can make a difference in their own countries.
I think that we must continue to stress the role that young parliamentarians and indeed mature parliamentarians have in maintaining governance, justice, rule of law, in maintaining a free press, in ensuring that justice is seen to be done, and ultimately, because of the Commonwealth Millennium Development Goals, to ensure that those goals, that one moves, perhaps cautiously, perhaps slowly, but inexorably towards achieving those goals. Now, it may be that that will take another 10 years or 20 years. It may take more, I hope not too much more. But it's these young parliamentarians that we've been talking to this week, last week, that are going to be the ones who will have the task of trying to achieve those Millennium Goals. And so I think that if we can imbue them with a sense of enthusiasm and creativity and moral fibre, as it were, then I think that we should do so.